Hello, and welcome back to the Happiness Hangout podcast, where we talk all things happiness, mindset shifts, and ways to get you closer to your dream life. My name is Katie. I am a certified life coach and someone who is so passionate about all things self growth, spirituality, and helping others reach their full potential. Today, I wanted to start us off with the quote, "Nothing changes if nothing changes." My life started changing when I started putting this quote into action because it is so common for us to want to just stay in our comfort zones and wait for things to happen to us. But if you want to see different in your life, you have to start doing different. So in this episode, I will be sharing why we stay in our comfort zone, how to overcome the excuses you're probably making, and why you have to start doing different to get different. And this is an episode I really wish I had when I was afraid to get out of my comfort zone. So if you're feeling stuck, need that extra motivation to get out of your comfort zone and just create a new life for yourself, this episode is for you. The next quote that I really wanted to share with you all is, if you always have done what you've always done, you will always get what you've always got. Which I think is enough motivation to help kick us off even further and really just want us to get out of our comfort zones. But I think the first thing that I really want us to go over is understanding why we stay in our comfort zone and the psychology of it. So our comfort zone is a place that feels safe and familiar, and our brain is wired to seek comfort and avoid risk. And so when we face new or uncertain situations, our brain, specifically our amygdala, can intercept these as potential threats, which triggers feelings of anxiety, and it makes us want to stay safe and go back to our comfort zone. Like, this literally feels like a real threat to us, as if something actually harmful is happening to us. And even when these aren't real threats, we still feel like they are. And so that is a big reason why it is really hard for us to get out of our comfort zones and why we want to stay in them. And it just feels better to be there. And more comfortable, I want to say, hence the name of it being comfort zone. But I also spoke about this a few episodes ago too, but it's your upper limit problem. And this is a subconscious barrier that keeps you within your comfort zone by triggering self-doubt or self-sabotage when you're close to achieving more or even like new levels of success or happiness. So this will kick in for you because you're afraid of that change that could come out of it. And it just is like different. And even if you are upgrading your life, like this can start to kick in and be like, wait, things can't get too good because that means like life's going to change a little bit. Or, oh my God, like these things are going to change. And how am I going to deal with this? And so it is very common for us to self-sabotage when things are starting to get better, when we have to take that leap to get out of our comfort zones because we're like, wait, I don't deserve that. But it's so important for you to realize that just because you feel this threat or just because something feels different or you feel that discomfort, it doesn't mean it's a real threat. And it's just something that you've literally never done before. So it's very natural to feel resistance, but stepping out of your comfort zone is so necessary for you to grow and to just get different in your life. Like, you have to do something differently if you want to see something different come into your life. And so now it's time to talk about the excuses that you might hear yourself making. And trust me, I've been here too. And I'm sorry if I'm calling you out here, but I think we all need to hear it. Because a lot of the times we're making these excuses for reasons why we don't want to get out of our comfort zone or why we can't get out of our comfort zone. And in reality, it's only doing us harm because we're not living to our full potential. And so the first excuse you might hear yourself saying is, this doesn't align with me. And by all means, if something doesn't align with you, like truly, truly doesn't align with you, fine, don't go for it. But I think it's very important for you to ask yourself, does this really not align with you? Or is it just out of your comfort zone? And is that why you're avoiding it? There has been so many times when I have found myself in the position of saying no to things. And I really had to sit down with myself and ask myself, am I saying no because this is something that just doesn't align with me? Or is it just out of my comfort zone and am I just trying to play it safe and stay comfortable? And a lot of the times it was the fact that I was playing it safe. And for that reason, I was like, okay, well, now I just have to do it so that I can grow from this experience. But again, when you try something different, you give yourself the opportunity to get a different result, which is what life is all about. Like, you want to see different, you want different opportunities to come, and you want to grow. The next excuse you might hear yourself saying is, oh, that other plan just seems so much easier. When you're getting out of your comfort zone, you may hear yourself saying things like, ugh, it would be easier to do X, Y, and Z thing instead. Or if I just went with that plan instead, it would be easier to stay at that job or to not post that video or to not get out of my comfort zone. But do you want to cruise by life and just stay comfortable, or do you truly want to live it and experience all the things that you're meant to experience? And this reminds me of the quote, easy choices, hard life, hard choices, easy life. So sometimes it is about making those hard choices. Sometimes it's not always about doing the thing that feels comfortable or the thing that's easy. And it's really about stepping out of your comfort zone, even when you just want to stay in and not do anything or not socialize. Those little things that you do that are out of your comfort zone are what is going to make like a huge difference. The next excuse that you may hear yourself saying is, I'm not ready yet, or it isn't the time yet. Ready is a myth that you tell yourself so you can wait for the perfect moment, but there is no perfect moment. There is no right time. This is just an excuse that we tell ourselves to push things off because of fear, because we're afraid of that change coming. We're afraid of getting out of our comfort zone. We're afraid of even how good it could get. But if you are thinking about it, you are probably more ready than you realize, and you don't need to have everything figured out to go for it. You just need to take the first step. There is never going to be the right time, but the best time to go for it is now. There is a reason you're thinking about it. And again, all you have to do is think about that first step. What's the first thing that I can do? You don't need to have it all figured out. The fourth excuse you might hear yourself saying is, what if I fail? It is never failing if you keep trying, and it's just gathering information. It's really, really about how you see failure and reframing it. Because even if that thing doesn't work out how you want it to, you are still learning, you are still growing, and that is what life is all about. I just got a notification that my battery's at 10%, so let's see if we make it through this podcast episode. But yeah, you're never failing. You are literally just growing and learning, and that's what life is about. And there's like that quote that's like, your level of success is proportional to the amount of risk you take and also the amount of failure you have. Like, you have to take those risks to see more success, and sometimes those risks end up being failure, but you get to learn from them. The next excuse you might hear yourself saying is, other people are better than me. First off, though, there are people who are less qualified than you going for things that you want. So even if that was true, which it probably isn't, there are people less qualified than you going for it. But second off, no more of this comparison game, because we aren't comparing anymore. There is a reason that you have the desires that you have. There is a reason that those desires were put into your soul. There is a reason that you want to do the things that you want to do. And there are people out there who are waiting for you to go for that thing, to plan that event, to put yourself out there, to impact them. And you never know how you fully going for it will impact people positively. So if you hear yourself saying other people are better than me, it's not true, because you can't compare an apple to a bike. Those are two completely different things. And I don't even know how I just thought of those, but they're so random and different that we are like, it's so important to remember that each and every one of us is so unique and special, and we all have these desires planted in us for a reason, and it's important to listen to them. The next excuse is, I don't have the confidence to go for it. Confidence comes from taking those bold actions and getting out of your comfort zone. It's not the other way around. You can't wait for confidence to come for you to start going for it. When you do those things, that is when confidence comes. If you want to grow your confidence, step out of your comfort zone and do something bigger. And it's really just about believing in yourself and believing in the fact that there is a reason why you want to do all of these things. And the more that you do those things that are out of your comfort zone, the more that you step out of it, the more that you put yourself out there, the more that confidence will come, and you'll be able to you'll realize, wow, that actually wasn't that hard. Or wow, all I needed to do is just take that first step. You are so much bigger than these excuses that you are making, and there is a whole life out there waiting to be lived for you outside of your comfort zone, and you just need to do that one thing that is different. You need to make that one change to see the changes in your life. The last thing I wanted to cover on this episode too was how to start putting these things into action. Because I know getting out of your comfort zone is scary, but I want to give you actionable tools to really help you do it, because those small things that you do make a big change. And so that's like the first part of all of this too, is just take that first action. It's so easy to look at all the things that you want to do, or look at that big thing that you want to do and get so overwhelmed or scared by it. But all you have to do is take that first step. You take that first step, and then next you take that second step, and the third step, and the fourth step. But you don't need to take 15 steps all in one. You just need to focus on the first step. And so what I love to do is, when I have to do something that's out of my comfort zone, or I'm making a big change in my life, I write down all the things that I have to do to get there. And then I just take it one action at a time. I look at that list and I'm like, okay, what is one little thing that I can do today to help me get there? Another thing that is super helpful is to find someone to hold you accountable. And this can really just help you stick to your word. And it's also just nice to have someone who's in your corner and rooting you on. And if you need someone to hold you accountable, I'm always here. My DMs are open, and I will support you and hold you accountable in this, because I believe in you and I believe in your mission, whatever it is. The next tool that you can use is use the 5-second rule. And Mel Robbins uses this, and it is counting down from 5 and then taking immediate action before you can start hesitating, before hesitation creeps in. And I've found this so helpful. Let's say you have to make an uncomfortable phone call, or you have to send a DM, or you just have to do something that's out of your comfort zone. Just count down to 5 and just do it and get it over with. And a lot of the times, once you do this thing, you realize that it's so much easier than you were building it up to be in your head. I also think it's so important to remember and reframe your why. So why are you going to make these changes? What changes do you want to see? What is the thing that you are going for? I am planning a vision board, and it's in the new year in LA. So if you're in LA and interested, feel free to DM me and I will send you info. But this was something that was definitely out of my comfort zone, because I have not done it on this large of a scale before. And I was having a conversation with a family friend who puts on these amazing events, and I asked him for advice. And one piece of advice he shared that was so impactful for me was, your frequency of wanting to go for it has to be greater than your frequency of fear. And this really stuck with me, because it's so important, whatever you're doing, to remember your why. Why are you doing it? So if your why is just something very surface level and you don't actually believe it, then it's going to be a lot harder to actually go for it. So if it was for me I'm just planning an event, that isn't really that high of a frequency. But if it's, I want to impact people and help people make a vision board so that they can make their dream 2025 come true, that frequency is so much higher for me. And then I look at the fear and I'm like, wait, that fear is nothing compared to this. And so remember your real why. Why are you going for this? What life do you want to say that you lived? The last tool that I find super helpful is to create a courage journal, or a wins journal. So this can be in your notes app, and every time that you take a step out of your comfort zone, whether it's big or small, go and write that down and ask yourself how it felt. Because it feels so great to acknowledge those wins. And it also feels great to look back and be wait, there are so many things that I was able to do that were out of my comfort zone. Because you are so much more capable than you're giving yourself credit for. And I think this is also just a great way to hold yourself accountable too. I want to close this episode with the quote, "Don't fear failure. Fear being in the exact same place next year as you are today." When you get to this time next year, what do you want to say you accomplished? What do you want to say that you did? You cannot keep doing the same things, staying in your comfort zones, and not making any changes, and then expecting life to look different. You have to do different to get different. Take that first step out of your comfort zone. Feel the fear and do it anyways. You are selling yourself short when you're not going for this full life that you're meant to live. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to leave a 5-star review on the podcast. And thank you so much for listening and hanging out, and we will chat in the next episode.